Welcome into Sports Map Houston. I'm Vanessa Richardson. That is Paul Gallant. And of course, we are the duo that makes up Vanessa and Gallant from 10 to noon on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5. Paulie G, as we record this, the Astros are in first place in their division by 11 games, currently half a game behind the Yankees for the best record in the American League. But 2/3 of the way through the season, the Astros do have some health concerns, and we want to run through a few of the most notable. Let's start with Michael Brantley. So over the weekend, when asking if Brantley will return, James Click said he hopes so, but, quote, with every passing day, you have to kind of take an honest look at it, end quote. Doesn't sound very confident. So if Michael Brantley is done for the year, we don't know if he is, but if he is, have the Astros done enough to fortify the offense for a deep postseason run?
Well, I mean, adding Trey Mancini and Christian Vazquez, those were two, I think, really good moves. They're rentals. I don't know if they will be here past this season, but it's hard to feel good about all of the moves the Astros made at the trade deadline when there's still such a void when it comes to their outfield depth. Do you feel great about Jake Myers as your center fielder in a playoff situation? We have heard the Astros also say that they're not willing to move Kyle Tucker over into center field from right, which makes it a little bit difficult as far as maybe getting a Trey Mancini and Yordan Alvarez into the lineup on a nightly basis. I mean, we liked what we saw from Mancini to start his career with the Astros. This Brantley injury, I'm getting more and more concerned about it and the fact that Houston wasn't able to add any outfield depth at the trade deadline by the day.
Let's talk about Lance McCullers Jr. Obviously, we're very hopeful that he'll be able to come back. Even though the Astros have a great pitching staff, he did make another rehab start over the weekend, but the velocity on his pitches was down. If he continues to kind of struggle in regaining that form completely, how do you think the Astros are going to use him down the stretch?
Great question. I think that something that was discussed on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5 a couple of months ago on the Killer Bees was the idea of potentially moving him into the bullpen. And McCullers actually acknowledged it online, and it seemed like he would be open to it. And we all remember that he had a pretty damn impressive relief appearance against the New York Yankees way back in the day. You're in a spot where it doesn't really matter, I guess, what your 1 through 5 is in your starting rotation in the playoffs, because you're going to shrink that rotation anyway. If there is a way that you can get Lance McCullers into a game, throwing some of the filthy stuff that he can throw for a couple of innings, I think it could be a real tremendous change of pace. But you also have to wonder, for a pitcher that has the kind of filth to his stuff that McCullers does, is it better for him to pitch for an entire game so he can get into a groove? I really don't know what the potential drawbacks would be for moving him into the bullpen, but it's definitely something that would be different. I would like the idea of it, though, especially with the way that some of the young guys have been pitching, Framber Valdez in particular, all year long. The first start that we saw from Jose Urquidy after the trade deadline. So that is the good thing. You got tons of options as far as what you do from a pitching perspective.
Yeah, and of course they added Will Smith as a lefty reliever. All right, keeping on the theme of health, Astros slugger Yordan Alvarez has been in a little bit of a mini slump. So we know he was nursing that sore hand for a while, but he hasn't been super open about it, so we don't know how much of his struggles are health-related. Are you confident in Yordan's health, and are you surprised to see him playing left field given the concerns with that hand?
I am confident that he'll be good to go by the playoffs. We still have, 2 months until those begin. But at the same time, with 60 games left or so, I want to make sure that Yordan is 100%. And look, I'm not a doctor here. I'm playing, fake internet sports doctor. But you have Trey Mancini. You have Yuli Gurriel hitting a little bit better than he had now that he's been moved up in the order. Why put Yordan Alvarez out there if you feel like he's not 100%? Get him rested. I mean, the only reason to play him at this point is because maybe you want him to still stick around in the MVP conversation. But let's be honest, with the way that Aaron Judge has been smashing bombs all year long, and with the fact that Shohei Ohtani also pitches, it's going to be, I think, pretty difficult for him to get back there. So, I think that you give him a couple of days off at the very least if you feel like his play is being affected by that injury.
It's a conversation and sometimes a point of contention among baseball fans. Workload, of course, but that's part of prevention and healing injuries. We've seen a lot of fluidity in the lineup, various guys getting days off. We've heard, like I said, some criticism of that shuffling, especially while New York has scuffled as of late. Does getting the number 1 spot in the American League really matter that much? Getting that bye, getting that home field advantage, or does the health of the team trump postseason positioning?
Health of the team trumps everything, right? I mean, you've been here so many times before. Winning the best record in the American League, what does that get you? You know, I mean, it probably won't. It won't get you home field advantage in the World Series, especially with the way that the Dodgers have been playing of late. I mean, they've won 9 in a row, I think, and have the #1 record in all of baseball, and they're 5 games up on both Houston and New York. It doesn't really matter what you have at the end of the season. Selfishly, as someone who can't stand the New York Yankees, I want the Astros to have yet another thing to hold over the New York Yankees, but yeah, it's not that important at the end of the day.
To which I think a lot of Astros fans would say amen. All right,
Yep.
Vanessa and Gallant every day, 10 to noon. You can, of course, hear us on 97.5 and 92.5. You can also stream us on Twitch and hear us on the ESPN app. Bye, guys.
Peace.